Hi there, today I'm going to show you how to create a fun pattern on an otherwise solid image stamp. So this is a card that's similar to one that we made at my camp this month, and it uses the all dressed up stamp set, and you can see how this dress is a solid image, but I've created a little bit of a pattern on there which I think works nicely with this designer series paper. So the way you're going to start, you're going to have your stamp. I'm going to use Bashful Blue this time to show you something a little bit different. And one thing I wanted to point out on this stamp here, see that little point which is part of the stand? Sometimes when I die cut the image with the framelit afterwards, just a tiny bit of that ink will show up. So before I ink up the stamp, I'm just going to cover this little point right here from the stand, just so I don't get ink on there, just in case. So take your ink pad and you're going to pat it all across. And what's nice with these new firm foam ink pads is they ink up really, really easily, so you have a nice solid image there. So before I forget, I'm going to remove this. Now I want to add a little bit of a pattern on here before I stamp it on my paper, and I'm going to use this cute little flower image. It's from the Create a Cupcake stamp set, and you can see the little image right there. And this is a bold image. I think an outline image would work well too, but I really like this little flower print. I thought it would look nice for a dress pattern. So what we're going to do is, this is a clean stamp. There's no ink on there. So we're going to stamp it on here on top of the blue ink, and it's actually removing the ink. So now you're going to clean your stamp every time you do this. And you can just rotate this and press it down. Now a couple of things you'll want to watch for is, because we have ink on this rubber, sometimes when you go to put this on top to remove the ink, it wants to slide a little bit. So just kind of be careful as you're pressing down, just to go straight down, straight up. And again, remove the ink every time. Now you really have to be careful around the edges, because that's where it wants to kind of slide off. So just have a firm hand and remove the ink. So you're just going to keep doing this until you get the pattern all over. And again, be careful around those edges. And we're almost done here. And you can see I find it easier to move the bigger stamp and keep the smaller stamp in the same position. And then this little top part here, there we go. So I think that looks pretty good. So now we're going to grab some cardstock. This is very vanilla. You can see I've already stamped one like it normally stamps with a solid image. That way you can compare it to the one with the pattern. So we're going to place this on the paper. Now for these solid image stamps, sometimes I would actually stand so I can press pretty firmly, but I'm going to try to do it this way. So you can see how I'm holding with one hand and pressing with my fingers on the other hand, just to kind of get a nice solid inking. And then when you lift it up, you can see that you have this cute pattern on the dress now. So plain dress and pattern dress, they're both really cute, but it just gives you more options in your dresses. Now you'll notice there's a little bit of ink here at the top. You're not going to see that when you die cut the dress. So when you put the framelit on here, it's only cutting out the dress part. So a little bit of ink there isn't going to make a big difference. And again, you can see the cute little pattern here. Now that I call reverse kissing, and then I'll show you what's considered more traditional kissing. So we're going to go back to the stamp. We're going to cover up that little point there and ink it up again. Still using Bashful Blue. Get it all nice and inky. And I'm going to go to Midnight Muse for the second color. So instead of removing ink like we did on the first time, we're actually going to be adding ink. And I can see I need a little bit more ink down here at the bottom. So let me just pat that one more time. Okay. So we're going back to this cute little flower image. I'm going to remove this before I forget. And we're going to ink this up with a darker blue. So you want to have the lighter color on first. And then this is, I think it's more traditional kissing. You're going to kiss this stamp to that one, and you're going to transfer the dark blue ink over to the light blue. So again, be careful that it doesn't slip, because it is kind of slick with the ink already on the stamp. But you can see how you're putting the dark blue on top. Now, because the inks are water-based, you're going to notice a little bit of bleeding with the colors, but it's actually kind of pretty. So don't be bothered by that. And then we're going to put just a couple more flowers here. And then get one right there on the shoulder is really where it wants to slip. So just be careful. So there's my flowers in the darker blue. So we'll stamp this on Berry Vanilla again. And again, take your time, hold with one hand, and just use your thumb or your fingers, whatever you're more comfortable with, and walk it around the stamp. Just make sure you get a nice solid inking there. And then when you lift that up, you can see the difference in the dress pattern. So this is your three choices here. Solid image, reverse kissing, where you're actually removing a little bit of the ink and it leaves a lighter shade for the flowers. And this is more traditional kissing, where you first ink up with the lighter blue and then you stamp on top the darker color. Now I have another one, so I'll go back to the card. So this is using So Saffron ink with the reverse kissing technique, where I've actually removed some of the ink before I stamped it. This is the more traditional kissing technique. So again, I inked it up in So Saffron, and I pulled another color from the designer series paper, Calypso Coral, and I kissed it to the So Saffron ink that was on the stamp. Now you'll notice this one bleeds a little bit more, but I kind of like it. It's almost batik-y looking. So this will show you what the card would look like with that dress. And you'll notice I've added some little tiny pearls for pearl buttons down the dress. And on the sample here, I've also added some stitching above and below the designer series paper. And this is the T for 2 designer series paper. And this greeting here is actually from the All Dressed Up stamp set. And when I saw this, I was thinking, gosh, I wish I was moving so I could use that. I just think that's really cute. And then guess what? I did move. I didn't move homes, but I did move my YouTube channel. So if you like these videos and want to see more, please come to my new channel. It's at youtube.com/Keenan Kreations, and I'll have some more projects there for you to enjoy. Have a great day. Thanks.